I will now turn the floor over to my First Lady, the First Lady of the Republic of Sierra Leone, Her Excellency Dr. Fatima Maada Bio.
Thank you, Aisha. Excellencies, because Your Excellency, the President of the Republic of Sierra Leone, my dear husband, retired Brigadier Julius Maada Bio, my sister Denise, Excellencies, distinguished ladies and gentlemen. Sexual violence in conflict remain one of the most devastating weapons of war. It tears through communities, leaving behind wounds that last long after the gun falls silent. For countless women and children, its scars are not only physical, but emotional, spiritual, and generational. Among the most heart-rending legacies of such violence are the children born of rape. Their very existence is marked by pain that was never theirs to carry. These children come into the world through act of cruelty, yet they are innocent. Still, they grow up with burdens too heavy for young shoulders. Rejection, stigma, and silence. Many are branded as children of the enemy, seen not as individuals full of promises, but as symbols of violence. This cruel labeling denies them love, it denies them belongings and dignity from the very start of their lives. For the mothers, too, the trauma is unbearable. Some struggle to bond with their babies, haunted by memories of violence and crushed by the fear of stigma. In the most tragic of circumstances, some children are abandoned and even infantilized has been reported. This is not because mothers do not care, but because trauma has robbed them of the safe space to love freely. Laws and policies in many places make this harder and worsen. Without birth certificate, nationality, or inheritance rights, these children are locked out of education, land ownership, and opportunity to live full lives. They become trapped in a circle of exclusion, poverty, and despair. Too many of these children miss schools or drop out of entirely, not because they lack ability, but because society denied them recognition, because stigma make classroom unsafe, or because captivity has stolen their childhood. The consequences are profound. Exclusion, driving them into further risk, sexual exploitation, early and forced marriage, recruitment by armed groups. In this way, yesterday's violence shape tomorrow's war, fueling circle of trauma that stretch across generations. This transgenerational trauma eats away at the very fabric of society. It shattered social cohesion and undermines peace. Communities cannot heal with children remain invisible and mothers remain silent. Breaking this cycle requires more than laws. It demands compassion, acceptance, and courage to confront stigma at all the roots. These children need more than charity. They need justice. They need comprehensive reparation program that sees them not as problems, but as survivors, resilient human beings with potentials, and this program must evolve as their needs grow from infancy through adulthood. For far too long, the world has looked away. Only recently have their voice begun to be heard. UN Security Council Resolution 2467 and the UN Secretary General 2022 report marked critical steps in recognizing their plight. In 2021, the International Criminal Court went further, declaring that children born of rape are not bystanders. They are direct victims entitled to reparation in their own right. This recognition must now be matched by action at every level. Yet, global awareness remains painfully low, funding is scarce, advocacy is limited, and too often these children continue to live and die unseen. We cannot let them remain forgotten. We must act with urgency and with love. We must guarantee their access to justice, their education, to health, and to reparation. We must open doors to opportunities, not close them with silence. Above all, we must raise community awareness, promote acceptance, and confront stigma. These children were born of violence, but they do not have to be defined by it. If given dignity, recognition, and opportunity, they can be leaders, they can be healers, and they can be builders of peace. Let us work together to ensure that no child is ever again called a child of the enemy, but instead celebrated simply as a child of humanity. I thank you all for your kind attention.